to Living Ardently. I'm your host, Adrian Giraldi, and we are back with another Meet the Writer episode. Today we have another one of our writers, and I'm really excited to introduce her to y'all. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today's writer is a wife and a mother, to be. Just moved to Colorado, so if you're in Colorado, make sure to hit up her and her husband. And she's also a musician and an artist. You can follow her at @the_creative_Brer. Her link to her account is in the description. Please welcome my guest, Regina Baier.
Hi.
Hey, welcome. I don't know if I'm still pinned. Hopefully I'm not. I'm unpinned. So Regina is here. And like I said, you are originally from New Mexico, right? Or no, Idaho. Sorry.
No, actually, I was born in Mexico.
I was right.
You were. I was born and raised in Mexico up until I was 9 years old. Okay. And then I moved to Idaho Falls. Idaho.
Idaho. Not New Mexico. I said New Mexico, so I was wrong still. But it was close. Okay. I was closer than Idaho.
A little farther north.
A little farther north, yeah. And then you, we'll get into that in a little bit, but let's play a real rapid fire questions to kind of get this flow going. You ready?
Yeah.
What is your favorite day of the week?
Not Mondays. Mondays are hard. Like Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays or Saturdays.
Favorite holiday?
I really like the whole Advent season, just like the lead up to Christmas, and like, you're so excited, and the readings are awesome, and the colors and the decorations.
Right. Yeah. What is? How long does it take you to get ready?
5 minutes.
Really? That's impressive.
Yes. Well, I used to teach really early in the mornings at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Eek. And
it just got harder and harder to roll out of bed. So I got really good at doing like 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Ariel or Jasmine?
Ariel. I always loved The Little Mermaid when I was little.
You were a mermaid, you said?
I was a mermaid in my mind.
Scale of 1 to 10, how good at you are keeping secrets?
I would say a 9.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
Ooh. Either I'd like to see Rome. I don't think I'd like to live in ancient Rome, but I would.
Right. What place would you want to travel to?
Any time period or like now?
Now, yeah. Sorry.
Ooh, that's a hard one. My husband and I really want to go to Hawaii because we've never been, but I would honestly go back to the French countryside.
Ooh, yeah, that's awesome. Favorite junk food?
Takis.
Yes.
Purple kind.
Yeah. Favorite season?
Fall. I'm so excited to see fall this year.
All right, you haven't seen fall because you've been in Florida for so long.
Yeah.
Cake or pie?
Cake, without a question.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't like ice cream.
No.
I am a social ice cream eater, which means to an ice cream shop, I will eat the ice cream, but if it's in the freezer, it will sit there until my husband eats it, because I don't like ice cream.
That is insane. Did not know that. Oh my gosh. Say your favorite word in Spanish.
Oh, I just immediately forgot all the words. A fun one to say is parangarikutirimicuero.
Whoa, what does that mean?
I don't remember. I think it's just kind of a tongue twister word.
Maybe, yeah, it makes sense. It sounds like one.
Yeah.
But also all of Spanish sounds like that to me, so. Especially when it's like Puerto Ricans or Dominicans talking. I'm just like, whoa, slow down.
Oh. You should hear the Mexican talking.
Oh yeah, that's it. What's your favorite number?
2 and 4. I have 2.
2 and 4. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Who has it easier, men or women?
Who what?
Who has it easier, men or women?
Neither.
Yes, what a great and honest answer. Do you ever have you ever worn socks with sandals?
Oh yeah. I do that all the time when I travel. I'll wear my Birkenstocks, and then when I get on the plane, I will put on my big, thick, fuzzy socks because it's cold, and then I'll put my feet back in the Birkenstocks because that's gross.
Amazing. Yeah, Birks and socks. Birks and socks is what I hear the combo is.
Yeah.
The Birks and socks, not Birkenstocks.
On pilgrimage, I lived in chacos and socks, so.
That's amazing.
You do.
Did you have the chacos that has the toe, like the big toe straddle too?
But I would just put my toe over it. I wasn't that far gone. No.
Okay.
That's just gross. Don't do that.
That's hilarious. What does a person need? Oh wait, no. Why can't we tickle ourselves?
Because you know it's coming.
Virtue or sin?
Virtue? I feel like that's a good question.
It might be. Who knows? Would you rather cuddle with a baby panda or a baby penguin?
A panda. Birds are creepy.
Yeah, they are. Name one of the 7 dwarves.
Dopey.
What was one of your favorite? What was for dinner tonight?
I haven't had dinner.
Oh my gosh.
My defense, I'm pregnant and I eat 1 million times a day.
Makes sense. Right. What was the last thing you ate?
I ate a bowl of pasta.
Just pasta itself?
Well, I put some butter in there and some basil and some it's oregano and did I say butter already? There was butter.
Yeah. More butter. Some butter and aisle.
And some Parmesan cheese. And then also orange juice.
Orange juice? Wait. Yeah. In the pasta?
No.
Oh, okay.
That would be so gross.
I was like, I know pregnant women have these weird cravings, but I didn't know that was they get that far.
I have not had cravings, so that's
right. That's awesome. Do you like big dogs or small dogs?
Big dogs.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
I almost thought you said cats. How many hours of sleep do you normally need?
Well, that has changed recently because insomnia in pregnant women is a real.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too.
So, 5 hours to feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
But some nights I get 4 hours of sleep.
At least that's one cycle of REM, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Make a high-pitched sound.
How are you meant? I don't know.
Do you like the name Charlie for a girl?
Yeah, we talked about Charlie for a girl. We're not doing that.
Like Charlie Puth is what I think about.
Well, I would call her Charlotte, but Charlie would be her.
Oh. Have you ever tasted soap?
I feel like I have a vague memory of being a curious child and trying.
Can you touch your toes without bending your knees?
Not presently, but I can.
Do you like the smell of gasoline?
No.
Okay, great. I was starting to believe I was the only one. I always ask this question and people say yes. I'm like, what's going on? Why does everybody like the smell of gasoline? Do you like the smell of money?
Money?
Yeah.
People smell their money?
Yes.
Oh no. I've never smelled my money before.
Yes, the smell of money arouses some people. Or rather, it's like, it smells great for some people. Hey.
Oh, interesting.
I used to like the smell of it.
Okay, used to, not anymore.
Used to. And now I just think of Dirty Bunny. I just think of all the hands it's touched, so I just like get it away from
Yeah,
my.
I
Right.
mean that's generally what I think of. I wouldn't
Right.
put that in my face.
If you were given a all expenses paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Would you choose to go there if it wasn't paid?
No.
I'm sorry, Jarrell. Jarrell being from Cleveland. He might hear this and take offense.
Sorry, Joel, I was set up.
Well, Elfser did it. All right, last question. If you're really hungry, would you eat a bug?
Oh no.
You would just starve.
I would.
Come on. Have you ever watched Lion King?
Yeah.
Doesn't Timon and Pumbaa make like bugs like look so yummy?
No, because I've seen them crawl.
I promise you, I have never eaten bugs, but I've never been. I'm always tempted after I watch, no matter what age I am. After I watch Lion King, I just am so tempted. Just
to
like
try it.
yeah, I mean, if they gave me like bugs that looked like the bugs that they had, totally got it. I'm totally eating it.
You should send a memo to Disney World.
Oh my gosh, they should make that like a treat that you can buy at Disney. To be honest.
In Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, it'd be like, here's a bag of like bugs.
My favorite bugs.
But they're all yummy. Anyway, that's just a pitch. Disney, don't steal my idea without giving me credit. Also, one more thing. Doesn't Aladdin make you want bread? Like the first scene in Aladdin, when after he does his first song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? From when him and Abu are eating the bread and then he gives it to those local kids. That scene always makes me want bread so bad.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Don't know why. It's just so good. It just sounds so yummy.
It does. It does. It make it look really yummy too.
Right? I don't know. Cartoons just make you want food. So let's get a little bit into who you are, introduction to you. As you know, as for those of you who are not familiar, we have a team here at Living Ardently that isn't just composed of me and my co-host Jarrell. It actually goes way beyond that. There's a team of writers who are part of our team that create the reflections daily on our Instagram. If you're not following us, make sure you are Living Ardently on Instagram. And we post daily reflections from these writers. We had Jessica last month, and this month we have Regina. And it's just like a great way to kind of expand the brand and expand the reach of the brand to make sure that we're reaching everybody. I mean, the whole goal of the ministry is to like share how it is to live a passionate life, like people's passionate lives, but also to like minister those who are suffering, who are hurting, who are just human and Catholic or Christian. He doesn't have to be Catholic, it's like it reaches out to people who are not. And so that's the goal of it. And with the writers' help, it's grown a lot. And so Regina is one of those writers, and we actually just added. We have 5 full-time writers that usually write every week, and then we just added 3 part-time writers that will be filling in spots when we need to. So really cool, really exciting stuff. But today we have Regina. Oh, she's over here. Regina. Why don't you give them a little bit of background of how we met? What was your first memory of when we met?
Some event at Ave.
Some event at Ave. We went to college together, Ave Maria University. For those watching on YouTube, I'm wearing my sweater, my favorite Ave sweater. All I remember is that I think my first memory is probably when we were eating. Vaguely, I think we met at a dinner table.
Okay, probably.
During like a meal. Yeah. So we met and we ate, and it's because we graduated the same year, right? 2017, but I transferred in, and so I got to meet. I came in with the class below me, but I was trying to meet those in my class, so I was trying to make a conscious effort to do that. But I do remember when you would just be hall clerking, and I would just hang out with you for a while.
Yeah,
that was my favorite thing to do at Ave. Is on the weekends we would have hall clerks because there was interviz because Catholic school, we don't have intervis normally, and you get in trouble if you go to a guy's dorm if you're not doing intervis hours. People do it all the time though. They like sneak it. But Regina's one job back in the day was to do that, and
well, that one, and then the receptionist for Student Life, which she also came.
Right. You're just fun to hang out with. So I just always went out to go hang out with what do you call it? With the hall clerks, and then I always went to go bother people doing work hours because that's just what I did. At Ave.
Hey, it kept us entertained. It was like 6 hours of doing nothing.
Right. You got to go visit your friends before they go insane. I also got a job up there, so like I would go there more often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would always have you go through I think, weren't you in charge of the lost and found, because of that? So I would lose things often and just loot through there and see what I find. So, yeah, I think that's the most memory. Then, yeah, I think that's the first. I think I can't really pinpoint a first memory. Can you?
I can't. It was, I mean, there was food involved.
Definitely.
But I can't remember if it was at a dinner table or if it was at like Swamp Fest or Oktoberfest or.
Yeah, I can't remember. In any case, Avi was great and a melting pot of people. And so, and we just did some rapid fire questions, but why don't you give us 5 fun facts about you, things that you we didn't talk about in the rapid fire Q&A.
All right. So, I mean, we kind of talked about this. I was born in Mexico. I don't look it. But Spanish is my first language. And when I was in first grade, I was going to a bilingual school. And I was failing English.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember telling you.
My mom really tried to impress upon me that I needed English. And I told her that it was pointless to learn because I would never use it in my life. 2 years later, we moved to Idaho. Fun fact. 5 facts?
5, yeah.
Oh, geez. When I was little, I've been singing all my life. And when I was little, I would tell people to stop singing with me because I didn't think they were good enough.
That's amazing.
If you know me, I guess that makes sense because I was in charge of the a cappella group and I was known to be a dictator. So,
oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't know that. I just knew that you were part of the a cappella group. I didn't know you were a dictator of the a cappella group.
I mean, I like to I don't like to sugarcoat and make people, what is it? Milk toast? Like give people milk toast. Like, oh yeah, I'm not an insincere person. So be mean about it, but I will be honest with you.
As honest as I can be.
As honest and as loving a way as possible.
Not with the intent of making you cry, but if you cry, oh well. I'm kidding.
Just a slight effect. Right. I don't think I've ever made anyone cry. I hope.
Yeah. If you can apologize now if you want to. I'm sure they're listening.
Very sorry. Did anyone cry? Not my intent. But I was a music teacher down in Florida for the past 2 years. And I recently retired from teaching because I got pregnant and we moved to Colorado. So that's 3. I met my husband on pilgrimage, but I think we'll talk about that later, right?
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. We'll get into that.
Too much into that, but the long story short, my friends made fun of me and they joked that I was gonna meet a guy on pilgrimage, and I was very stubborn and I was like, that is not my intent. And lo and behold, I did. So don't make plans that you can't follow through with. God sometimes will have fun with you.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Last
one. I am the third of 4, but officially in the lineup, I'm exactly in the middle because my older sisters are twins. So my parents had a 2-for-1 special, and then they had me.
And I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're fraternal twins. So the funny thing is that people often think that I am one of the twins because I look more like both of them than they do to each other, I guess.
Interesting. That's so funny. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did and I just completely forgot, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really good fun fact to end on, actually. So the next thing, like again, like what we're doing here is like I just like to showcase my writers and kind of give them a little bit about they get to do the reflection. Sorry, it's like my my air freshener, and I'll just go. And I always have to cut it out in one episode. In every episode, I have to cut it out at some point. And sometimes I'm talking over it on a really important point, so I can't. But if I can, I will.
It has character.
It does. It does have character. He likes his room to smell really good, like always.
He likes to be his presence for it to be known.
Right. Exactly. What was I saying?
Writers.
So yeah, I like to do these things just to kind of introduce them to you all, to get you guys more familiar with them, and hopefully, when running the social media and sharing stories, you see more of them and less of me at some point. But it's great. It's a good opportunity for them to show you guys these amazing writers that are behind the post. So. But yeah, so to get more into it, like let's hear your testimony, your faith background. Were you raised Catholic? I know Mexico is a very Catholic place. So were you born and raised in the church?
Yes, I am a cradled Catholic. All my life, and I spent all of middle school and high school going to the cheesy parish retreats.
Yes.
I was known to be like the Catholic that stuck with it in high school because we had a very small parish community in Idaho Falls, and so I was one of the few
that stayed. Right. You're the ones that youth ministers really invest in.
I think though my youth ministers knew they didn't really have to invest too much in me because I was pretty committed.
Well, investing in a way that we want to make you like a leader, so you can invest in others. So
yes, they tried, but I never had the drive for that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then I went to Ave, and I spent 4 years there.
How'd you find out about Ave?
My sister, my older sister. So I guess I'm a legacy child.
Okay.
Because my older sister went to Ave back when Ave was actually paying people to go visit.
Oh, really?
They sent her a voucher, and she went and loved it. And then my junior year of high school, funny story, I didn't want to go to Ave because I didn't want to go to the Goody Two-Shoes Catholic school.
True.
I went to Ave because I was stuck in Idaho for high school, and it was cold and wintry during our spring break. So I was like, well, my sister lives there, and I can stay there for free. So I'll go spend a week there. And my sister arranged so that I could go to a bunch of classes, especially music classes.
Oh, okay.
I just loved the environment, the community, the sunshine. It was a really big plus. And so I wound up going out to Ave.
That's awesome.
And I loved it. But honestly, Ave is a place where either you really grow in your faith or you can really get complacent.
Yeah.
And I think I'd reached that point around junior year, I was a little complacent. I was like, well, mass is there every day. I can go to whatever. And then I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I signed up to go to a pilgrimage to World Youth Day. And I was like, oh, this will be fun. My friends are going. We'll travel around Europe. It'll be like a picture perfect trip. Yeah. And I didn't really consider the religious aspect of the trip, or I don't know how that escaped my consideration because it was through a religious order. Right. And I show up. So it's a group of I think there were total 80 American pilgrims. I'm going to charge my laptop. 80 American pilgrims. But I was on what they called the core team. So we were doing like the small groups and leadership and helping any way we could. And that's where Eli was. That's how we met Eli, my husband. But we show up and they're like, yeah, we're so excited you guys came on our discernment trip. And I was like, what? A discernment trip. All right. So then we flew all to Europe, to France, and we spent 3 weeks in France and 2 weeks in Poland with World Youth Day and the Pope and everything. And God knew what he was doing. He put me on what the priest who organized it so lovingly called it was spiritual boot camp.
Great.
So we got to do, in France, we went to Lisieux and Lourdes, and we had a silent retreat with Father Jacques Philippe. I don't know if you know him.
Father Jacques Philippe? Yes,
he's a writer. He is a
reading
member
his book
of the
right now.
Oh, nice. So he's a member of the community of the Beatitudes, and that's who I went to Europe with.
That's awesome.
And and then I spent a week in Auschwitz.
Cool.
It's actually a really beautiful town.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to go inside the buildings, but we did get to go see the concentration camp, and it was so weird. It was like very out of this world because the concentration camp is actually not that far from the town.
Wow.
It's like a 10-minute drive from the town.
Wow.
You can still see the town, which was what boggled me because in all the pictures you look at it and it's like out in the middle of nowhere. They didn't know what was happening, but it was like right next to the town, you know?
Interesting.
Wow.
And
just experiencing Polish culture that way. It was actually we stayed in a high school, in a Salesian high school. And
cool.
Yeah, the high school teens, they put on a bunch of activities for us.
Yeah.
And we just had a lot of fun. We were dancing in the square. One night they taught us traditional Polish dances. And
that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was a great immersion. But I mean, throughout all this time, I started spending a lot more time in prayer. The Beatitudes just asked that we spend at least 30 minutes a day in contemplative prayer for the sacrament. And just the graces that came from that were so incredible. Awesome. It physically and I guess spiritually changed me.
Right. So you think this is like this is kind of like your moment of like realization of like how beautiful the church is or something? Yeah, is this what you would consider that to be?
I think I was just able to experience God in a way that I never had.
Yeah.
And it was weird because like that was the first time that I actually started to communicate with him. Because before it was more like just going through the motions.
Yeah.
But I never really took the time to build a relationship. And something that really struck me on that trip was that it was really stressed that we actually talk to God, not just like go and complain or like, but like, someone said it was like, if God only knew what you told him about you, would he even know your name? Like, have you ever taken the time to establish that relationship as like a friend and a creator?
Right.
And so I took that trip, those 6 weeks, to really focus on establishing that relationship and building that rapport with God. And you know, like God was working in my life through prayer, and then bringing Eli into the picture. And I mean, I came back a different person and a lot more on fire for my faith in a way that I never had been before.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, it's really awesome because, you know, I feel like there's always moments where we, in the Christian's life, right, where we fall in love with Christ and then become complacent and then fall in love with him again, right? And I feel like that's always like a pattern that we have. And I think like it happens multiple times in our life, not just at least twice, but like I feel like it happens often. And it's a beautiful thing. And once you have that moment of like, Oh, right. This is why I am a Christian. This is why I'm a Catholic. You just kind of fall in love with the church all over again, and you're just super on fire. And it's as if you're a convert, like you have that convert energy, and it's just like, oh, if we just had that energy all the time, oh, imagine what the world would be,
Yeah.
So
We also need the voice of desolation.
right. We do need that. So speak to more to that, like your time when you met your husband. I know you said that you were a bit hesitant to kind of pursue something because you were being rebellious, but like, rather to admit to the fact that you would meet somebody, and then here you go. And so give us a little bit more about that, like a little bit of background with you and your husband.
Well, I remember seeing him and then thinking, oh, he's cute. He would be my type. So I'm not going near him. That lasted maybe 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, this guy's kind of cool. And I don't think it's fair to stay away from him. But it was funny because throughout that trip, we kind of kept coming together and coming apart. He was on a different itinerary than me. So while I was traveling all across northern France, he spent a week in Lourdes helping with a conference. So we were coming apart, and then we would get back together in Czestochowa, and then we were actually supposed to be on different itineraries again. And so he was supposed to walk from Czestochowa to Krakow.
Oh, cool.
And I was supposed to spend a week in Auschwitz originally, but all of my friends from the pilgrimage were going to go on that walk. And it just seemed so miraculous to me because I woke up really early the day we were all leaving.
Yeah.
And I went to Mass at the Shrine of Our Lady of Czestochowa. It was like 6 a.m. and it was beautiful Mass. Like there was fanfare and they unveiled the image. And I come back and they're like, well, some spots opened up on the walk. And I was like, well, here's my chance. And so I told the priest, I was like, I want to go on a walk. And he was like, okay. And then 2 hours later, he's like, actually, we had less spots than we had planned for. So we have to kick you off the walk. And I was like, okay. So all my friends are going to go on the walk. And then I ran into Eli and he's like, I just got kicked off the walk. Oh, me too. That's a weird coincidence.
And it turns out he just denied it so he could go be with you.
No, I don't think so. He was actually discerning at that. On that. He, after everybody else flew back, he spent 2 months in Israel with the community of the Beatitudes. I'm just trying to figure out if that's where God wanted him to go.
Right.
So we did have a talk during that time in Auschwitz at the end, because we grew a lot in friendship, and he didn't want to lead me on. Right. So he, we got some distance, and and then in Krakow, I didn't really see him very much, because there were, I think, 1 million people. Actually 1 million people in Krakow. And it was just so busy and so lively, and everybody was on their own schedule. And then we went back to Paris. I had an awful experience in Paris. I am fairly certain I got walking pneumonia. Oh, wow. At a really good day. And I just had an awful experience with a taxi driver. He yelled at me. He dropped me. He left me in the middle of Paris. I had no idea where. And so I finally made my way back to the rest of the pilgrims who were at the Shrine of the Miraculous Medal. Oh, and cool. They had all found a place to put their bags. And I had my big walking backpack, and they wouldn't let me in because they have those rules now, because sadly people are shooting in churches. And so I just waited outside and watched longingly as everybody got to walk around the shrine. And Eli saw me, and he said goodbye, because that was the day we were all splitting. And I said goodbye. I was like, well, I'll probably never see this guy again. So, and 2 weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, I went back to school to finish Ave my senior year.
Yeah.
And in my mailbox was this big postcard of the shrine of the miraculous medal, and it was from Eli. And basically, he said, "Hey, I know you didn't get to see it, so I tried to find you the biggest postcard." And so I wrote him a thank you note. I wrote him a thank you message on Facebook, and that's how we kind of got to talking. And then I went to Rome for Mother Teresa's canonization.
All right.
And
I remember saying, like, what the heck? Why does I remember saying this to myself, like, what the heck? Why does Regina get to go all this cool, like, trips? I was like,
I think just God was working in my life.
Right, yeah. He got you there.
See, I needed to go there because I bought him a postcard. He was supposed to meet me there and he couldn't come. Oh, wow. And I got him a postcard from there. And I sent it to him in September. He got it in October, on October 7th, which is the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary, but also coincidentally his birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I think that was a big moment for both of us. We were like, oh, there's too many coincidences going on here.
Yeah.
So we talked the entire time he was in Israel, but only once a week through Facebook message. And then he came back and we started dating, and we dated long distance for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We never lived in the same place until we got married. So
that's crazy to think that you guys never lived in the same area until you got married. So, was that hard wedding prepping?
Not too bad, because he was able to come every time. I think he came maybe 3 times when we were engaged, and we were able to get everything that we need to do in person. Everything else I had to do.
Did you guys get engaged after Ave?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought so. I wasn't sure because I think I met him while you're already his boyfriend, already his girlfriend.
Yes. So he came in spring semester. He came 3 times.
Yeah.
So you probably met him.
Yeah. I remember meeting him a couple of times. I remember meeting him one time, and then we talked a little bit, and then the second time we talked more.
Yes.
I was like, this guy's awesome. Like, I was like, I want to be his friend. That's so cool. That's awesome. It's a great story. I love hearing these kind of like these crazy love stories that happen. Like you unexplained, like you can't script them, you know, unscripted. Like you definitely something that is out of a love story, like a love movie, but it's so beautiful because it's just so natural, you know. So that's so cool, and especially when they're Catholic, you know, it just adds a little cherry on top. So that's awesome. We're gonna take a break right here, and we'll come back with more with Regina. All right, we're back with Regina, our writer for Living Ardently. So you might have heard a slight change in our audio. We just kind of fixed something we didn't realize was happening, so it's all good. And hopefully you can hear loud and clear now. All right, so now we talked about your personal life. Let's talk about your life with Living Ardently. As short as it is, it's only been, since March we had you guys come on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, when I I had a goal, like, you know, when I first started the podcast, like I said, I wasn't very sure about where I wanted to go with it, you know, if I wanted to keep up with it. But as I continued to do it, especially when I started season 2, I realized where this could actually go and how this could actually turn into a really awesome ministry. And then, like, I started it in January, season 2. Then I got to it and I was like, there could be another level added to this. So what can I do? And I was like, wait. I'm doing all these reflections. I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing all this stuff. Like, and that's a lot of work. I had a podcast episode interview with Jarrell from The Living Person, and we just had he gave me a lot of great advice in how to build after our interview. And I was like, I think we talked another hour after our interview. I was like, geez, this guy is awesome. And so, I mean, I already knew that. That's why I wanted to interview him. But he gave me the advice of like getting a team of people to reflect. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start asking. I'm going to start asking for people and I'll ask friends. And I think I approached you about doing it, right? So what made you say yes to it? Like, I mean, you could have said no. I mean, you could have had a bunch of other things. Your life was, I don't know, you weren't pregnant yet. I don't know, but maybe you were.
I think I was.
You were, and then, but you had so much going on in your life, and you were moving. So what made you say yeah?
Well, when you asked in March, we didn't know we were moving yet.
Oh, you did.
We knew we were pregnant, but I don't know. I guess you came up. I was like, well, that's really cool. Like, I've had a desire to do stuff like that, and I was kind of toying with the idea of. I mean, I had already started my own personal Instagram,
Right.
my art account, but I was trying to see if I really want to commit to that, and it was kind of nice that you reached out because it was a good compromise for me, where I still got to write and sometimes create.
Yeah.
But all of the pressure to do that and keep it up wasn't on me, which was what was really dragging, or not dragging, but it was just getting difficult with the other account, was keeping up content, creating new content, and then just feeling all the pressure of like, well, I have to do this and I have to keep it up, and and I still got to write about my faith, which is something that's been really important to me.
That's cool.
And I think by that time we had already gone into quarantine, or we were about to go into quarantine.
Yeah, I think I reached out like in the beginning of quarantine, and I was like, perfect. Nobody has anything to do.
Yes. I was like, well, I mean, there's really no reason why I could say no. Like right now, I could do it. It's not a big time commitment. It's not too much out, and it's not like it's something that's very difficult for me.
Right.
Like the reflections are, obviously they take time, and I struggle with deadlines, but but it's, I mean, by the grace of God, somehow I'm making it. So.
Right. No, it's like, it's what's so great about having the team of writers. Like I know the people who can get it done early, right? And I have the people that I can like, hey, like, can you do this tonight? Like, you're more free than most of the people, and then others, I know, like, they're the latter half of the week. I'm going to make sure I get to them eventually. Regina is definitely one of them. Tanya and Regina are my latter half. But they're the caboose, and they always have great reflections. So, like, Fridays and Saturdays are the highest times where people are on social media. And so, shoot, let's have them more viewed, And so it's really cool because, like, it's not a huge, like you said, it's not a huge commitment, but it's still something that I was afraid to ask people because I didn't want them to feel like they were like locked in and like never can get out. And that's what I like, and I had reached out, and like a couple people, I had made a call for writers on Instagram, and I had gotten reached out to by a couple of people, but I just didn't know them. And I mean, like, not that I couldn't trust them. I think I mean, I definitely could, but, I don't know. I just felt more comfortable with people I did know. And so once I had a team of 5, that was like my goal, was to get people to do, so I had at least 5 days a week. I wanted 7 days, but then, like Delaney, she's doing 2, so that was like 6, and I was like, I can fill up 1. And then it just went from there, and it was really nice to have that and to take the pressure off of me, like you said. So I keep on wanting to see more from your account. I'm just like, where's her new stuff? Because I didn't know you had started that, and I think that's what kind of attracted me to ask you, was just that you had it. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I always like, I love when the accounts are, like they're creating their own stuff, and it's like unique, or not just resharing other stuff, and that's what attracts me to like all these small Catholic companies. They're always making their own content, and that's what I saw in yours, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta ask Regina if she's gonna do it, if she wants to do it, because this is awesome.
And then she stopped.
Exactly. So go to Regina's account and just like all of her stuff and be like, I want more of this, and bug her until she does.
Okay.
I did that with City on the Hill Co, and she's been really good about posting. So
maybe I'll post once a week.
There you go. That's great. I mean, now you have 2 commitments a week on social media, so that's not bad.
Man.
See, that's why I said is even if it's once a week, it's still a daunting task. Even though it's like you said, it does take time, but it's just like, in reality, in the grand scheme of a week, it's probably like an hour of your time. You know,
yeah.
If that.
And there's so much pressure. And
Right.
I think a lot of it is self-inflicted. Like, I
Yeah.
think I had maybe 300 followers. And I was like, I have to be perfect.
Right.
I mean, if you look now, actually, it's a really funny story. My husband didn't tell me that he did this. But one night during quarantine, so my sister-in-law was staying with us, and I woke up to like 800 new followers.
Wow.
And I hadn't posted anything
Uh-huh.
in like 2 days. And I was like, how did this happen? And they were all, like, I was looking at them. They were like Russian bot accounts. And I was like, oh my gosh, the Russians are trying to steal my information. I don't know. I was freaking out, and I just kept watching it go up and up and up. And for 2 days, I was just stressing about this. And finally, we were sitting all together watching TV, and I was like, guys, I think the Russians are out to get me. And I told them what had happened, and Eli was just like, I mean, I was wondering when you were going to say something about that. So I guess he found a website where you could buy 1,000 followers for $6.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't tell me that he bought some for me because he wanted to see what would happen.
If it would actually happen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's my story.
That's insane. That's something that a lot of people won't admit to.
No. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do it.
Right.
It's not my fault.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, what is when you're writing your reflections? What is your goal?
I don't think I really have a goal. I kind of write them stream of consciousness, just with better grammar.
Right.
I mean, I guess my goal is to share my truth, which I always strive to align with actual truth, you know. And just to share a message of love or maybe inspiration, I think. I think a lot of mine focus on like boost yourself up.
Yeah.
But not in like the cheesy kind of like you're great and you should just acknowledge the fact that you're great. But like owning up to your mistakes and your failures, and then just accepting the fact that you're not going to reach your ideals.
Yeah.
But there's also some beauty and some good in that, in our human failures, and that's how we were created, and we'll never reach that without God.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like, because and that's exactly what I ask of you guys, but I say it a lot shorter. I just say, just be authentic with the reflections, you know, like when I pitched this to you all, I said, I'll make the things, I'll design all the stuff, but you just send me a reflection. I'll provide you the quotes to reflect on. And in turn, I'll, share your accounts, and I'll give you credit, and I'll give you credit for the reflections and all that stuff. And it's just like, like I said, I think what attracts people is the authenticity that you guys pour out in it, because otherwise I don't think anybody really would. Because when I was doing it, I was very short. I did pour out my heart on a lot of them, but because it was a lot, I could only do it like a couple times a week, even though I had a goal of doing it daily, And so I think that's what attracts a lot of people to the account, are the reflections, and that's what I attribute a lot of the growth in the past months since you guys joined. I mean, when you guys joined onto the team, we had 300 followers, and now we have, I think today, at like 670 something. So it's like partly is like doing interviews with awesome people, but it's also like, if you look at who's listening to the podcast, there's only an average about 60 people, 70 people. And so that means there's like 600 people who are not listening to the podcast, but are watching and reading your reflections, So you guys carry the team, I think. And so I tried to cater to your judgment. So I don't try to put pressure on you all as much as I can. Just so only times I try to pressure is when I need a reflection, and to post for the day, and I just, hey, we need one. If we miss a day, it's okay, it's whatever. But I try to stay as consistent as we can so we can provide for our followers, you know. And so in the time of being part of the team, how has like Living Ardently helped your relationship with God, if it has at all?
I think it's helped me in the quotes that you give us are a lot more. They're, I don't know. I was doing some saint quotes too and Bible quotes, but it forces me to actually like sit down and think about it, as opposed to just kind of going through like reading a quote and like, yeah, that's nice, and then just, you know, moving on.
Yeah.
So it forces me to actually think about it and make connections of that quote with my life. So I think that's been good in that, like, you have to slow down, and it's okay to take time to think about a quote that really stood out to you, because we do get to pick our quotes. You send out a few of them, and then I know on Sundays I'm always like, it's 1:00. I gotta check it.
Yeah,
all the good quotes will be taken.
I know. I try to make them all good, so it's hard to choose from. But then there's times where I'm just like, I know there's like a couple favorites, and these are gonna be. And I try to be as consistent as I can of when I release them. But it's like, I got work, and it's like a side thing. So some days, there's one day where I completely forgot, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's 9:00 at night, and I haven't sent them quotes.
Which I think that day worked out super well, because I always check late, and I'm always accepting, okay, God, this is what you want me to write about. But that day, I forgot to check too, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get like the quote that nobody wanted. And then I checked, I got on Instagram, and you sent the message, and I was like, whoo, first pick. I think that day it worked out in my favor.
That's awesome. I always know who, I know like the few who aren't usually like there at the beginning. So it's usually like Joe and you are the last ones to see it. And so, like, you two are the only ones like, okay, whatever I get. And then Joe is like, there's a couple of weeks where Joe is like, oh my gosh, you guys left the right one for me. And I was like,
yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
So, it's quite interesting, but that's awesome. So once you see it, you get to like reflect on it and stuff. That's really cool. I'm glad, you know, again, we try to, there's a lot of great people who are saying great things out there. And I don't like to limit myself to just being like reflecting on people who are Catholic, you know. There's a lot of great people who are not Catholic, who are, you know, whether they're Christian or pastors or just like lay people who are just you know, non-believers that say amazing things about suffering and perseverance and stuff like that. And that's the whole point. Like, the Christian person, we are people who need to persevere and do good work. And, you know, you don't need to be a Christian or Catholic to actually understand that, you know. And so I think that a lot of people out there, like today's quote was, if you can't beat the fear, just do it scared. And like, yeah, we need to know that as Christians, like, oh yeah, we're terrified and taking these leaps of faith to Christ. But like, shoot, if you can't beat that fear of like taking that first step, just do it afraid. Like, go take your first step afraid, and who knows what God will do in your life, you know. And obviously most of the time it's amazing results. So and do you ever feel like stuck when you're writing and reflecting on something?
There was only that one time, but I think that was just because of the circumstances. I got a quote right when we were in the middle of our move.
Yeah.
And you know, we were packing up the apartment, shipping all our stuff, and then driving 20 hours to St. Louis. And it was just a week of overwhelming emotions, especially while pregnant. So I think that week it didn't work out. I think it was like a 2-week thing. But I mean, that was the circumstances. I don't think besides that one time, I don't think I ever feel stuck.
Yeah, I always feel like I always try to give grace for the fact that, you know, there's such thing as writer's block, and sometimes you're trying to convey your feelings and you just can't in words, you know, and so that's completely fair. And so like, that's why I just ask when I need a reflection, I usually just ask everybody and hope for one person to be ready. But it totally happens where like nobody's ready. And I was like, okay, well, we go without a post today. Or like I try to make something up, like, we just put this out and, and sometimes it can feel pressure and there's like pressure to provide. But, at the end of the day, it's just a social media, But the goal for the social media is to meet people who are going there. Like a lot of people who go to social media, like I scroll social media when I'm starting to feel stressed. Or I go on social media when I'm like trying to escape. And so a lot of people are trying to go on an escape. And so if we can find somebody, if somebody can stumble upon a quote that we share and it helps them during their escape, remind them of their worth, of their dignity, of their belovedness, then great, we saved somebody. Oh, little people. Hi, Eli.
He left.
Dang it. For those of you watching on YouTube, you kind of saw a glimpse of Eli.
That was my husband. That tall figure.
Tall figure in the back. So just before we wrap up, what is your goal for the rest of the year? I know it's been a crazy year and it can be easy to like give up on some goals, but what is your goal for the rest of the year?
Well,
doesn't have to be Living Ardent related. It can be just your entire life related.
Make it through the rest of this pregnancy and delivery. If you guys could pray for a good delivery in November. Yes. That's a pretty big pressing issue right now. Settle down. So right now we're kind of homeless, living with our kind brother and sister-in-law. And so I guess settle down is a good goal. I know I kind of took a break this year from social media. Again, nobody saw the pandemic coming. So it just, so settle down. We really, I keep forgetting to call, but we want to sign up for a holy hour for a week. Cool. Like once a week. So that's a really big goal.
Just a whole week in holy hour? That's amazing.
No. Once a week. Oh man, can you imagine?
That's so cool. I mean, you feel like to eat.
The first 3 hours I think would be really difficult. And then I think you would just get used to it. Once a week, adoration. Doing that and being able to, stick to it. I think that's a very good goal to have. And,
And lastly, what is your message to those people who? How about why don't we send a message out to those who are writers, who are artists, or like pregnant women, or all of the above? Why not?
I think with everything, I would say that I wholeheartedly agree with the saying that comparison is the thief of all joy. And what you see, especially as a musician, what you see, the final product is just a snippet of what the artist or even like you see a baby and all these cute baby pictures and you're like, wow. And you compare it to your life and you're like, I am not living that at all. But you don't see what's going on behind the scenes, like you don't see the crying baby and the sleepless nights, and you don't see all of the hours and the cramps and like the artist mark, when artists are working and they get paint on their hands, or like the bleeding fingers from the calluses from playing your instruments, you don't see all of that. And so you see the finished product and you assume that it's easier for other people. And in reality, it's not. It's hard for everybody in different ways, right? Where I struggle with something, you might not struggle with it. So it's just, don't let that be a discouragement for you, and overcome your own personal, I just blanked on the word. Your own personal expectations of yourself, your unrealistic expectations of yourself. You're not going to make a post that's automatically going to go viral. I mean, the odds of that are very slim. And the best way to do it is to grow organically. Don't let your husband buy some followers for you. But you build a community and you find your niche and you just cater to that, because eventually you'll find that you are fulfilling a need. It just might not be the need that you thought you were supposed to fulfill, or it might not be in the way that you thought you were supposed to
right.
do it or get there.
Yeah, it's true. And I would add on to that, just leave room for God to work in whatever you're doing. You know, like if you are trying to control it 100% up and down from beginning to end, chances are it won't turn out the way you want it, you know?
Yeah. And
if you... Yeah, go ahead.
If you come to a wall, don't just try to run through the wall.
Right.
Take a step back and see if you can walk around it.
Right. True. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. For anybody, you can apply that to music. You can apply that to work. You can apply that in a lot of places in your life. So anyone can listen to that and get a good tip. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's what we got. What are your shout outs? Send out some people who we usually shout out some accounts on Instagram, but you can also shout out like companies you want people to look at. You got a few on there?
So an account that I've been really inspired by is called The Futurist Family on Instagram. It's beautiful account, beautiful testimony of a family, and a wife taking care of her husband has brain cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been following their path, and she's awesome. She just offers it all up like a champ, and she shares so much about her faith and the way that God is giving her strength through grace. Awesome. And a beautiful testament to holy matrimony. Praise. And another account you guys should check out is Noelle with a 3.
Oh, yeah.
So it's NO3LLE. She's an awesome friend of ours, and she's a musician. She has new music coming out, and I'm super excited to listen to it.
Go check out her single. Where is it? Wherever You Go.
Wherever You Go. Stream it. Get her some streams on Spotify.
Yeah, go listen to that. I'll link that in the bio. That in the show notes. I created the album cover for that. The single cover for that. And then what was the other song that she released?
I did the one for Wherever You Go.
Wait, which one? Which is the one that I made?
You made the one for the one that's coming out.
Oh, okay, cool. Go check it out. Whatever it is.
Go check it out, and you will see one of our artworks.
One of our artworks.
One or both, or
both
something.
And.
Both and.
Oh, speaking
either
of,
and.
Paradigm Clothing Company is releasing a shirt that says both and I am in love with it. So go check it out. Make sure you're following them. That's a shout out from me. I usually don't do the shout outs, but oh man, I'm just so in love with that because it's just the concept of everyone's just either or, like this or that now. And like, why can't we be a both and like the church? The church is both and. Why did we decide to be divisive right now? So it's freaking beautiful design. I love it. I'm excited about it. I'm gonna buy it right off the rack.
Nice.
So Regina, thanks for coming on and introducing yourself and introducing putting a face to the name of the writer. Really excited to have you part of the team.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
It was fun. It was great. And so make sure you follow Regina at the creative Brer _Brer. Bear. Sorry, I said it right the first time. And it's spelt correctly in the show notes, so you can go just
Baier.
There you go. And follow Living Ardently at Living Ardently. Follow myself at It's Only Adrian. Make sure you rate and review on Apple Podcasts and just subscribe everywhere else. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, where this video will be available on YouTube shortly after it's released on the podcast apps. And call me. The number is 407-853-2010. 853. Okay, 407-853-2010. Give me a call. Send a text message if you want someone to pray with, or if you want to talk about the podcast. It'd be really cool. Send a Gmail. You can also send an email if you don't want to do that, or check out our blog site, which is going to be worked on some more. So, all right, y'all. Thanks so much, Regina. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And we'll see you all next week when we have a Q&A. It's going to be awesome. Make sure you send your questions in and send a voice memo question in the show notes. The link to that is in the show notes. God bless you guys. And until then, keep living. No, you can say it. Until then,
keep living ardently.
Peace. Let's go.